Yes, it's time for another pointless drag race. I like a good pointless test. I've got the 2025 Lexus LX 500D Overtrail versus the 2025 Toyota LandCruiser Sahara. So these two share the same powertrain, running gear, and the same platform chassis. It's just that the Overtrail version comes with front and rear differential locks and all-terrain tyres. But they both share the same 3.3 litre twin turbo diesel V6 engine, 227 kilowatts and 700 Newton meters, matched to a 10-speed automatic with full-time four-wheel drive. I mean, ideally it would be good to get the GR Sport version of the Land Cruiser up against the Overtrail Lexus, but I couldn't get my hands on one. But it kind of evens out because I tested the Land Cruiser in damp conditions. It was early in the morning, whereas this is completely dry for the Lexus. And also the Land Cruiser had about a quarter of a tank of fuel left in it, whereas this has got about half a tank. I didn't do that on purpose. It's just timing and trying to get everything right. But it kind of evens itself out a little bit. Now the Lexus in this specification weighs 2,690 kilograms, while the Land Cruiser Sahara weighs 2,620 kilograms. So as you can see, there's going to be a little bit of a difference in power to weight ratio. The Lexus is 84 kilowatts per tonne, while the Land Cruiser is 86 kilowatts per tonne, or thereabouts. So the Land Cruiser does have the advantage, including for torque. We've got 260 Newton meters per tonne for the Lexus and 267 Newton meters per tonne for the Land Cruiser. So the Land Cruiser should take this, given that it's got the same gearbox, the same engine and everything, but less drag with the all-terrain tyres as featured on the Lexus, and a little bit less weight. But I thought it might be interesting to see how they compare, because different vehicles can be different. Like you could get two identical variants of the same vehicle and run them, and they could be slightly different just from the production and all that sort of thing, different fuel quality and so on. We'll see how they go. As usual, I'll get the tripod and put it on 3 different spots down this private road for the full quarter mile, including at the start here, about the halfway point, so 1/8 mile roughly, and then about the finish line. I think the tripod is just before the finish line. So it's, yeah, not quite. It's only a few meters, but I think it's just before the actual quarter mile finish line. Let's see how they go. There we go, pretty close result, but as expected, the LandCruiser just got there in the end. Interesting that the Lexus, at least, it performed better in the normal mode. If you try sport mode, and I've found this with other diesels as well, it just over revs the engine, which is important when you're in sand or towing or something like that. You want to keep the engine revs high, but in terms of just flat out acceleration, yeah, there was a bit of a difference there. We've got 8.4, sorry about the sideways photo, 8.41 was the best result in normal mode with brake hold, so building the engine revs up on the brake pedal a little bit. That was 9.52, that was with Sport S Plus mode with brake build as well. And then just full throttle without brake build was, in the normal mode, was 9.08. So interesting that, yeah, there's differences in the just between changing the modes. I find that a lot mainly with diesels. If you use a petrol model and put it into sport mode, rarely makes any difference at all, because full throttle is the butterfly in the engine with combustion vehicles at least. The butterfly is fully open. It doesn't matter if it's in eco mode, it's fully open. It's some vehicles might restrict it a little bit, mainly EVs, but in petrol and diesel models, doesn't matter what mode you're in, you're getting full throttle, you're getting maximum fuel into the engine. It mainly helps with response though. So when you're driving along, you move your foot a little bit and it will pick up straight away in sport modes. While in the eco mode, it's the opposite. They slacken it off, so it's to save fuel. So you're driving along, you push your foot off quite a bit, and it's just, yeah, just easing it along, and that's to try and encourage you to drive a bit more efficiently. Some vehicles do actually alter the calibration a little bit, like BMWs have got a launch control system with a torque converter auto. It's not actually launch control, but it's telling the computer, hey, I want to get up and go as fast as I can. So it kind of just programs anything that it can program for the best takeoff. So what would I take out of these two? Well, I think it's a pretty easy win for the Lexus, given that it is basically the same vehicle, but just more luxurious. But we'll go over some of the figures here. They both have a 3.5 ton braked towing capacity. They both have a GVM of 3,280 kilograms, but it does mean, since the Lexus is heavier, it eats into the GVM more than the LandCruiser. You've actually got only 240 kilograms left over once you hook up a 3.5 ton trailer, which is not that much. So I mean left over by passengers and cargo. 240 kilograms, that's 2 passengers and some gear, or 2 big passengers, and that's it. The LandCruiser doesn't do much better either, actually. It's got 310 kilograms left over in the Sahara specifications. So either way, if you are looking to do some heavy towing and carry some passengers, like a family or whatever, and their gear, you're going to need to get a GVM upgrade in both vehicles. What other differences do we have? So they've both got a fuel consumption average of 8.9 litres per 100 kilometres, but I suspect the Lexus will chew a little bit more in the real world because of those chunky all-terrain tyres. They just add a little bit more drag, and by drag I mean they're a bit harder to cut through the air. They don't have the best rolling resistance compared with road going or tarmac style tyres. In other areas, the Lexus is obviously more luxurious, like it's got double glazed windows, or they're not double glazed, but 2 panes of glass there with a film in the middle there for added security and insulation. Double glazed, you know, traditionally means 2 pieces of glass with an air pocket in the middle. But yeah, this has just got like a resin or a plastic in the middle there. It means that, you know, if a stick or rock flicks up or something like that, it's less likely to shatter the whole window. You might just break that outer piece, and you've still got that inner piece to protect you. But yeah, mainly sound insulation. Cruising along, this is very quiet to drive. I love the way Lexus vehicles also, they have this pocket, or this pillow, sorry, down the side of the seat. You might not be able to see that in the dark, but basically there's a little pillow that runs all the way along on the driver's side as well. And I don't know if you've ever done it, but you drop your keys or your phone or something down the side there, you never get it back, or it takes so long to get it back. Every time I do, I just pull over and it's a big exercise. Get around to the back and just, yeah, get my hand under there and just try to wedge it out. But those pillows I find in almost all Lexus models that I've driven have those, and just stops stuff falling down there. You've also got a bit nicer trim. You've got this wood grain sort of stuff on the center console. A few more functions and buttons and so on, mainly in the back. You've got climate control, heated and cooled outer seats, but pretty much the same package as the LandCruiser. This also comes with a Mark Levinson stereo, which is better than the LandCruiser stereo. And in the Overtrail trim, you get this rather nice dark green color leather with black. It's subtle but still stands out. They both offer awesome off-road capability as well. I like the live axle rear end. I find it offers a good range of suspension movement or articulation when you're off-roading. So it presses, or it keeps the wheels or tires pressed on the ground. That's where the traction is, obviously. And they're both pretty much the same. This is obviously better off-road because it's got the front and rear differential lock, while still having the multi-terrain select and all of that sort of stuff that the LandCruiser offers as well. The LandCruiser only comes with a center diff lock, I'm pretty sure. It doesn't have a rear diff lock in the Sahara spec. If you go for the GR Sport, you do get the same gear. The only other difference I thought I'd look into is the resale value, or the retained value. So we'll check out, I'll just show you what I'm looking at here. A 2022 model, so it's about 3 years old, 500D Sports Luxury versus the Sahara. Brand new, 164,991 versus 135,501. And then the average selling price now, according to Redbook, so this will change every day if you look at the figures, but at the time of when I was editing this video, the average selling price of the Lexus is 147,425 versus 114,300. That means the Lexus has retained 89.3% of its initial cost, while the LandCruiser retained 84.3% of its initial cost. So there's been a few comments that say resale value is not about percentage loss. I think it is, because what you're spending and how much you get of what you're spending back. But you could argue that you get sort of more back with the LandCruiser, even though the percentage is a little bit different. I'd have to calculate that, but overall, I would say the Lexus offers a better resale value because it holds on to a larger percentage or a larger portion of its original price tag. They're both very expensive though. 183,000 for this model, I think. 182,300 for this example, and then the LandCruiser is about $40,000 less. Are you getting $40,000 worth of extra kit with the Lexus? I think you are, in terms of this specification. With the Overtrail, you're getting the all-terrain tires and all that sort of stuff, the front and rear diff locks. That's worth a fair bit alone, but with a Lexus, you get a lot of after-sales perks. So you check out their website just to make sure you're in the right region and so on. They probably offer different packages. But as far as I know, Lexus, they usually come with concierge services for servicing. They'll give you another car. There's also parking at airports and so on. I think they even have a deal where you can go and borrow a different model Lexus and just drive it in a different city. There might only be a limit of one per year or something like that. Check out the Lexus website though to have a look at what you're eligible for. But yeah, you don't get that sort of stuff with the Toyota. Let me know what you think. What would you take out of these two? I think the obvious answer is the Lexus, but maybe you've got another reason why the Toyota would stand out aside from the price difference. Thanks for watching.